name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the sightings that I have of a real Bigfoot, plus give out a little bit more information on what I claimed of actually who is a Bigfoot and what is a Bigfoot. You know, I call them Edomites. But anyway, here is a drawing that I've done of the Bigfoot I seen in 2002. I'd done this drawing as soon as I got home that day from work. Okay. Well, we was working and doing a job in Indiana, and we drove through Kentucky because that's where I seen this Bigfoot. We drove through Kentucky because I lived in Ohio, but it was quicker going through Kentucky from where the job's location was back into Ohio where I lived at. So as we was coming through Kentucky, there's an exact time that I spotted this or seen this was at 4:01. Now, how I know it was 4:01 because on WEBM in Cincinnati, every day at that time at 4:01 they play another Brick and Wall by Pink Floyd. So that song just started, and as I was filling out paperwork and that song came on, my worker was in between me and the driver because I was filling paperwork out, and he says, "Hey." He didn't say it this way because he used some cuss words in it. So, but I'm not going to use that. But he says, "Is that a blanking monkey over there by the fence?" I looked up and I looked over and I started seeing it stand up. I said, "No, that's not a monkey." So I asked the driver to pull over, which is one of my workers. He pulls over. I get out of the truck and I walk over to it. And I got 20 to 25 feet from it. And I start looking at it. I started looking it up and down as it looked at me. Then after a while, looking there, it had a bad odor and bad smell. Then after we got done, you know, as I was looking at it, it was looking at me. All of a sudden, it turned around, stepped over a barbed wire fence that was there, and it starts walking back off into the woods that's along the roadway there. I turned back around. I went back to the truck, and I said, "You guys seen that?" And they said, "Yeah, it just stood there." And I said, "How long was I there for?" You know, and they said, "Well, it was about 10 minutes." So they looked on the clock and it was like uh, 4:11 or 4:12. And they said, you had been standing there for at least about 10 minutes. So when we left, and as I was thinking of what I saw, I started doing a sketch. And here's the sketch right here of what I seen, because I put the paperwork down and I just went ahead and started sketching this of what I seen while it was still fresh in my mind. And then when we got home, I started doing research on this. Now, one thing that I find really good is that, and what makes it better too for me knowing what they actually are and stuff, like when I did my research on the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film. Okay, now I show in my book and my research stuff that it was actually a hoax. There was a man in a suit. Now, I'm the only researcher that, you know, really did full research on the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film that's actually seen a real Bigfoot. Okay, now the other people that done research on the film, they actually never seen a real Bigfoot. I mean, they might have rock thrown at them or they seen tracks, one thing or another, but they never actually seen one. So for them to actually say that's a real Bigfoot in the film, they really can't say that. Okay, if they see muscle movement, which I show in my suit, muscle movement as well and stuff like that, you can't base it on that. But when you're looking at it and you start looking around and you know what they look like, then you know the difference between a man in a suit and a real Bigfoot. And like I said, I'm the only researcher that's done research on a PG film, fully research on the film, that actually seen a real one. Now, there was eyewitness account that they marked down, and I got the image right here. I'm going to show you in a minute. This image here, some lady seen a Bigfoot, and they did a sketch of it, which that's the image right there of this one right here. That's right here where my cursor is on this side. She did a sketch of what she's seen, the Bigfoot that she's seen, what it looked like. Okay. Now, when I did a side-by-side comparison, she's seen exact same thing almost I did. The way they look and describe the way they look and everything else. It looked like a human man, but had fur to cover his body. Now, when I'm sitting here doing the side-by-side comparisons, you can see the similarities in these two Bigfoots here. Okay, They look human and everything else. Now they do not look anything like the one in the Patterson and Gibbon Bigfoot film. None, not even close. The head was normal, like you see in both of these images here. The headline's normal. The eyes, nose, mouth, having a beard, long hair, and then the fur on their body. Okay, everything's almost the same. So I know that this Bigfoot report is real because she's seen the same thing I've seen. So and by the sketch that was done over this Bigfoot, we could see that she actually seen a real Bigfoot. Now, a second sighting for me, which was really not a sighting but an imprint. One night, me and my wife was sitting in the living room here because there's a river that runs, Leakin River runs on the side of our house. It was midsummer. It was at night. It's probably about, I say about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was doing research and she was reading, and we heard this big, awful sound echoing along the riverbank here. And then it felt like there's something watching us, but we didn't know what it was, and we heard that loud sound. And we started getting this bad odor in the air. Okay. Then the next day, I started, cleaning my windows, which is behind this computer system here and stuff. I was cleaning my front windows. Well, when I was cleaning it, I noticed on the outside, there's an impression pressed against the window. Like someone was looking in the window. And here, I took a picture of it. As you see here, I take a black cloth and cover it over behind on the outside there so I could take a picture of this here. And as you see right here, we can see a face. See how the brow is, the nose, and the mouth, and I guess the chin, and we see print marks around it. Now, this is it when I made a negative of it. As you see, what I think was looking at us was a juvenile Bigfoot looking at us through our window, because we heard that sound, we had that bad odor, and the next day, this is on our window. Then one night, which is another sighting, that me and my son, Leroy Jr., was on the side of the house walking, because I usually walk at nights, trying to lose weight. So we were sitting there walking, and then something big jumped out of the tree, and there was a dog barking, and it looked up, and then when this thing hit the ground, because there's a fence along here too, it hit the ground, and after it hit the ground, we felt a vibration. Something heavy jumped from that tree down on the ground, and then it bolted, and it bolted along the wood line here. There's woods that separate my house from the river there. It bolted down through there. You can see all the brushes breaking and bending down, and it just took off and jumped because there's a big section. Oops, sorry. There's a big section between this side of the road and across the street where there's telephone poles going across there and everything else. It jumped over that embankment there and kept on booking through there. I would say that was a Bigfoot because the way it was standing in a tree as it was jumping down and hit that ground with the weight, you could feel a little bit of vibration from it, and how it bolted so fast through them woods on the side here. We knew, me and my son both knew, when we had this bad odor and we started smelling this bad odor as well, we knew it was Bigfoot because that's what I smelled before. So there's a lot of them in this area that people don't know about. Now, when I do my research on the Patterson Bigfoot film, or even when I go out and do Bigfoot research, I'm going to pull up this image here first. Now, people will say, oh, this is a real Bigfoot. I mean, actually, has a couple people looked at this, and they said it's a real Bigfoot and everything else. Actually, this is not a real Bigfoot. This is actually me in my suit that was taken along that river that's right next to my house here. This right here is, we took this picture, okay, for test on when I analyze other images and stuff like that. I could do testing and see if it was a real Bigfoot or not. This is one test image that we done, and here's the second test image that we done. As you see here, I'm across the river on that side over here on this side, and I'm walking across, and they take the picture of me in that suit, so I can get like different angles, different views when it comes along the riverside or in woods and stuff, so I can analyze when I analyze the Bigfoot films or videos and whatever. I can take and look at it if it was a man in a suit or not by my motions or the surroundings that I was in and stuff like that. So this again is a hoax right here. It's not a hoax, I should say. It's actually a fake image of me in my suit. So if you ever see this image or the other image I point out, they said it's a real Bigfoot. Okay, I'm gonna let you know it's not a real Bigfoot. That's me in my suit. Now, like I was saying, when I started doing research on what a real Bigfoot is, after I told you about my science stuff, I looked at this. This is what the fur looked like on the body of the Bigfoot I seen right here. It looked like a goat's skin. Well, that reminded me of a story I was told in the Bible about Jacob and Esau. Jacob was a plain man, skin and stuff, had regular hair and everything else, but his brother had fur to cover his body and it was red. They both had beards and they both had long hair, and to fool their father Isaac, they had to place the skin of the goats on Jacob's arm and the back of his neck and stuff to fool his father, and he had to put on his Jacob had to put on Esau's clothes that had that scent of him as well. So that's why he had to smell him to make sure, and he felt his hands and his arms and stuff like that to make sure that he was talking. Isaac was supposed to be talking to Esau, but he wasn't. He was actually talking to Jacob. But actually, that's where the beginning of the Edomites started, which I go in more details in my book on the film, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, not only the Bible tells us this, but if you look at this right here, which I showed us in my book as well, on the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film, because what I do is I go with my sightings first, then I go with my research on the real Bigfoot, which is Edomites, then we go into research on the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film. This is a painting in the Sistine Chapel done by Michelangelo. And in this painting, at the very bottom here, as you see here, which I'll zoom up right here, at the very bottom here, tells a story from the Bible, because that's basically what the painting is. Tell different stories from the Bible. This shows us right here where man casted out the Edomites from, man. So the man cast out the Edomites and they started living in caves and stuff. And as you notice, the Edomites, which you have one right here on the ground, you have one right here standing up, and you have one behind. These are the Edomites, and they are what we call today Bigfoot or Sasquatches and Yetis. As I point out in my book as well, which, let me bring this one up here, which you can see it while I'm talking. The man casting out the Edomites. Now, also I put, it's in my book, where the first sightings of Yeti was reported in Asia over 3,000 years ago. Well, 3,000 years ago is when the Edomites lived in Edom, and the Romans came to kill them. They killed all the males first, but then they left. But then when it was coming back, they wanted to kill all the females and stuff, and the little children and everything else. But when it came back, Edomites was gone. They left. They left Edom and they went eastward into Asia, and that's when the first reports of Yetis have been reported. When the Edomites left Edom at the same time and they went in Asia, that's when they said, hey, wait a minute, here's a Yeti. That's when the Yetis reports started coming out. So actually, the Edomites were the first Yetis that people was reporting with fur covering their bodies and stuff. Like I said, in my book called Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot Film, that's this book here, I go over my research on Edomites and why I call them Bigfoot and stuff like that. I go over the claims, and this is at the beginning of the book, and I go over my sightings and stuff like that I also have in the book. The reason why I put that at the beginning of this book here is to show people that this book here is not about proving or disproving Bigfoot. This book here is just about a film, one film. You know, that's all it's about, is that one film. So I want to make this video here and let people know that, yeah, I do believe in Bigfoot 100% because I've seen one. But when it comes to Patterson and giving a Bigfoot film, it's not. It is a hoax. Now, you can be the judge yourself. You can look at my research if you say, okay, well, you know, I don't believe in this, but that's fine and dandy. Okay, that's your opinion. Okay, I'm just posting my evidence. I'm showing the evidence I have collected so people can make their own minds up. I'm not going to sit here and push the film as being real. I'm not going to push the film as being a hoax. You be the judge on that. I'm just presenting the evidence that I've found and that I came up with from testing and making a copy of the suit and everything else. You could be the judge about that. But I want everybody to know that when it came to analyzing this film, I was the only one that fully did research on a PG film that actually seen a real live living Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever you want to call them, wild man. I have seen one. I know what they look like. The one in the PG film is not anything like what I've seen. And that's why I'm trying to explain to people, that people understand that when you're pushing this one film, calling it the Holy Grail, saying this film here is real, and if it's a hoax, okay, all the people that actually have real video of Bigfoot, or you know, has real images of them, they're going to be cast aside, because if it don't look nothing like Patterson's Bigfoot here, then it's not real. It's a hoax. Now, if it looks like the one in PG film, then it's real. But as I showed you and I pointed out right here, and this right here, I seen one. Now, does that look like, this is the one I seen right here, did that look like anything like Patty? No, it didn't. How about this one over here, seen by another eyewitnesses? Does that look like Patty? No, it doesn't. So see, they will mark us down as being hoaxers because we seen this, and this is what we draw, and this is what we seen. But it don't look nothing like Patterson's Bigfoot, so I guess we're hoaxing and they're not. But how we're hoaxing, all we're doing is just telling our story and showing drawings of what we seen. But a Bigfoot researcher will say, no, that's a hoax because it don't look nothing like Patty from the Patterson Gimme Bigfoot film. And if it don't look like this Bigfoot here, then it's not real. But like I said, when you do research, you got to think outside the box. We wonder if the Patty is not real, but these other ones are real. Because these all look alike. But this one don't look like none of them. See what I'm saying? Something to think about. But anyway, I want to make this video here. Show, you know, talk a little bit about my encounters. What they really are, Edomites, Bigfoot is. You know, give a little bit of that research out there. And, you know, tell people that, you know, I do believe in Bigfoot. And let them know that, hey, you know, about a little bit more information on the Patterson Gimme Bigfoot film. I'll leave the site in the description down below where you can get this book if you want to get it. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's on paperback and it's also on Kindle. So if you get on Kindle, you can start reading it tonight. And if you don't want, if you want to get paperback, you can. You know, it'll just take you a few days to get it through the mail. But I'll just let everybody know that in the description down below, you have the website where you can order this book on either paperback or Kindle. I'm going to be starting making a couple more videos here in a minute, so I can have a couple more videos out tonight. Thank you, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. Don't forget to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, you know, and thank you, and have a nice day.